Right now, when we fall off the floor, we fall forever. It would be ideal if the game ended or restarted when this happened. This is the goal of this video. Our objectives will be to add health tracking to the player and add a game object below the floor that kills the player if they collide with it. So right now, when we fall off the floor, notice we fall forever. It would be ideal if the game ended or restarted when this happened. Fortunately, we provided this behavior for you through two included scripts, health and damage. The health script provides code to track the health of a character in the game, while the damage script damages the character. So let's get this set up. So we want to add health to the rollerball. There's actually a script under the scripts, which are the scripts that we brought in, the MSU game scripts, called health. So, there's multiple ways of doing things. We can drag this onto the game object. Down at the bottom, you can click Add Component. These are all of the named components. Notice there's one called scripts. And, we can find that here as well. So I'll do that this way, for example. So let me pick health. And we've got the health script attached. There's options to set how many health points the player has, or the character has. If the character has multiple lives, how many health points they get when they respawn, and then the number of lives. I'm just going to set these all at 1 for now because my game is going to be pretty simple. 1 life, 1 hit point. You die, you die. There's various other options here for exploding. We'll use some of these later. One thing that we are going to change is this option that says on lives gone. Right now it says do nothing when dead. Let me select load level when dead. So when we die, we want to reload the level. So right below, we can actually specify the name of the level. And of course, it is called level 1. That's the name of our scene. If we wanted to go to a game over screen, we had a separate scene for that. We could type that here. So when you died, it went to the game over screen. But for now, we'll just reload the level that we're in. So now we need something that will detect when the player has fallen off the floor and then deal damage to the player. There's many ways to achieve this, but one simple way is just to create a game object that the player collides with. So essentially what we can do is we can take the floor, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. So I'll hit my Command D or Control D to make a second floor, and I'm going to rename this. Death Zone. And right now this is attached to the same prefab as the floor. I want to break that connection and make it into its own prefab. So I'm going to drag the death zone into the prefab. So I've got now a link between that game object and this prefab rather than the floor prefab. So obviously it just looks like the floor, and in fact it's right on top of the floor now. Let me go ahead and drag it below. If we look right from the side as we drag this, it's a little bit hard to see because they're the same color, but the floor is about 1 meter thick. So I'm going to go ahead and set this just below the floor at 0, -2, 0. And I'm going to scale it up quite a bit. Right now the floor is at 50%, X and Z. I'm going to set this at 2. So make it twice as big as the original floor that this was based off of. So if I look at top-down view, you can see here's the floor, here's the death zone, which is much, much bigger. Like I said, the material is the same, so it's kind of hard to distinguish the two, so let's make a new material. So let's look at the material. On this is the Navy Grid material that we've seen before. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that. So I'll select it over here and Command D. I'm going to name this my Death Zone material. And once again, I'll drag it up into my own materials folder just to keep it separated. And let's go ahead and apply this right away to the Death Zone game object. So I'll drag it out there. If I look at Death Zone, you can see that, yes, that material is now on there rather than the Navy Grid. And I want to change a few things on this. So the first thing is the actual albedo texture. So let me click on that so I can see, it's built on this swatch navy albedo. Let's go ahead and change it to the swatch white albedo. So drag that over there. So now you can see it's white. And given that it's white, we can change the tint color and directly see that. So let me bring up the color picker and let's make this, kind of a bright red. So now that we've got our material set up, let's go ahead and add that damage component. So once again, I can click Add Component, go down to Scripts, and select the damage script. So here we have the damage script. You can see it's going to apply amount of damage. This would be like 10 hit points coming off. Of course, our character is only 1 hit point, so 10 is more than 1, so this would kill the player. So I'll just go ahead and leave that. Notice it says damage on trigger. So this is what is going to actually cause the damage to the player. Right now, there's a box collider on this. We got that with the floor when we duplicated it. But I'm going to change this to a trigger because we want to make it, the collision of this death zone to trigger the damage. We don't want the ball to actually bounce off the death zone. We just want it to kind of go through it and have the script run. So let me go ahead and say is trigger. And we're not going to change any of the other settings on the damage script for now. Let's just go ahead and test this. Boom, I died and the game was reset. In the next video, we'll make our game a lot more interesting by giving the player something to do.